everyone, and welcome back to Hey,
Can We Talk?
a mother-daughter podcast with your hosts, Kayli and
Brayy.
oh my gosh, how professional are we?
Wow.
We
Only took us a
finally
few episodes.
have a name after months, and it's just one that we really like. And of course, we would love to hear from you. I feel like in the past, before we restarted the podcast, we were like, what do you think that people want to hear about? What do you think that we should talk about this time that people really would be interested in, that they would connect with? And when it comes down to it, we just really need to hear from you. So
We kind of do like broad, I think, topics that anyone can relate to, but we definitely, if you guys have like more specific ones, just let us know, because we always need some ideas.
Today's topic, a topic that never in a million years did I think that we'd be talking about. And I'm going to try really hard not to just be emotional this entire podcast, because sitting here with Brayy is the thing that I think makes me the most emotional about this new journey and thinking of not having Brayy around for the entire thing, I don't know. So
let's get into our topic.
So, hold on, I'm going to make sure there's no little ears listening. Hold on. Okay, we're all good. Casey said to me, "You're not pregnant, are you?" I was like, "No." Like, what? I was honestly just like, why would you think that? Like, what? It's like, no, we're too old. Of course not. And he was like, I don't know about that. And honestly, at the time, I just brushed it off. I was like, no. Time went on. Everything was fine. I didn't really think about it. And I was driving home and I was like, what is the date today? And I was like, oh no. Oh, there's no way. There's no way that I'm not actually at that point. How does this happen at 39? The last time this happened to me, I was 19. And so, which is just really weird. 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. Anyway, so the next day I took a test and I took 2 tests. They were both positive, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was so hard for me not to tell Brayy. Like, I wanted to immediately just run upstairs and be like, Brayy, oh my gosh. But also, I was really, really emotional when I saw that it was like confirmed, and I was pretty sure. And the reason that I'm so emotional is because Bray's almost 19. When the baby's born, Brayy will be 19. And my kids love her so much. She's such a good big sister. They love being around her. They don't like when she's not here. And to feel like this baby won't grow up with that just being a normal part of life. And I know that you will be such a big part of the baby's life, but everything just changes. And we did an update video about how, Brayy is going to start living life separate from us at some point. Or even now, I feel like you are starting to live a different, going one way and we go another way, and our family unit just looks different. And I so badly don't want that. Like, in general, I just want us to all stay together. But then to think, like, this baby's going to miss out on growing up with Brayy crushes me. It's so hard. And I didn't tell Brayy for, how long did you know? Brayy figured it out that day anyway. It's fine.
I knew for like a week and a half maybe before I told you I knew, because I overthink things like so bad. And the way I found out was we were driving to Subway, and a week before you got Subway with Layla, and so
the day before.
Oh, the day before she got Subway with Layla, and so we were driving to Subway, and she calls my dad, and as soon as he answers, she's like, "Hey, you're on speaker. Brayy and Layla are in the car." And I was like, "Okay, well that's weird, but don't know what's going on, so whatever. Let that slide." Yep, let that slide. And then she was like, "We're going to Subway," and he was like, "Oh, that's what you're craving." And that second, I texted Maddox. I was like, "I think my mom's pregnant." I was like, "There's no way that's just like such a coincidence." I was like, okay, maybe she's on her period. Like, you crave things when you're on your period, So I was like,
said that, I was like,
I just let it slide. And then I babysat a little baby like a couple days later, and then she's like, I wonder where all of that baby stuff is. I was like, this is not just a bunch of coincidences.
That wasn't even though.
Okay,
I was genuinely like, they had like these really cool baby toys, and I don't know where ours ended up.
It was just like everything adding up. I was like, there is no way. But again, I overthink things, so I was like not positive, so I didn't want to say something to you or like gauge, so I was just like, whatever, let it slide. And then like a week and a half later, we went to Utah to make cute little rings. We made them. They're so cute. We have matching ones. Mine's in my bathroom.
Rude.
I know. But we were driving there. I was like, so are you pregnant?
I was like,
she's like, what?
Why would you think that?
And she wasn't denying it. So I was like, so you are? And she just was like, yeah, and started crying.
Because it's a weird feeling to feel like emotional and sad, because I'm excited, but
it's just like not something you're expecting at all, like not something you prepare with, which is like, it is hard. Like I feel like same thing if I got pregnant, like that would be really hard for me and I'd be emotional about it. So it's understanding like if you're not trying for a baby and like especially at this stage of life, like
right. I feel like I've just accepted it. I just accepted like okay, this is what we're doing now. My kids are going to be leaving. Okay, we're going to figure that out. I'm going to try my hardest to like build new relationships with them and like make sure that they always feel welcome and make sure that they're, like this is my role now. I still have these little ones and that's okay. They're also getting big, but it's going to be okay. I had kind of just gotten to this place and then it was like, nope.
But and maybe it's a sign.
I will say it was so hard not telling Brayy. And after she told me that she knew and we talked about it, she made me so excited. I was worried that she'd be like, why would you have a baby now? Like, why would you do this when I'm like grown and an adult and I won't be able to be there all the time? But you were just like, I'm so excited. That was the first thing you said. And how you are so excited to do these other things with this baby, have these other experiences, have sleepovers at your house. And it made me really excited and grateful that you were excited and that you want to build a relationship no matter what, like that will be a priority. And not that I ever thought it wouldn't, but it just made me realize that you are still going to be right there with this baby and that they'll still be so lucky and they'll know you so well. It's just...
It is hard. Like, I've definitely been emotional about it because my siblings are my best friends. Like, obviously, I'm super close with the Gage because he's closest to my age. Like, we do everything together, but also, like, Layla is my mini best friend. Like, we also do everything together. So it's weird that I'm not going to be, like, growing up in the house with them and, doing the things that I do with my siblings now with this new baby. But also, like, this sounds weird and it's probably not going to give you closure. But, like, when I have kids, like, they're going to have...
So I'm like, please don't have kids soon. Please don't do that.
Like, they're gonna be friends, and like I do get to be the fun big sister that they get to come and have sleepovers at my house, and I'm hoping it's a girl. But even if it's a boy, like I think that either way I'll still build that relationship. But it is really hard knowing like they're like on trips and stuff, like I'm not gonna build those memories with them. And when me and Gage are like, remember when this happened growing up? Like they're gonna have those memories without me, which does make me really sad. But I think it's good because you were having such a hard time with me leaving, and like now Layla is in school full time, and I just remembered everything was happening in graduation. This stuck out to me so much. You're like you guys are my purpose. Like I don't have a purpose now that you guys don't really need me. And so when I found out that you were pregnant, like I was so thankful. I was like she's gonna feel like she has a purpose, even though obviously you do have one outside of us, but like I do think that you needed it, and it is a blessing, and it's hard, and your body's different, and like I'm gonna be gone, Gage is gonna be graduated soon, like there are so many things happening with the kids, but I do think like that's gonna be like you'll be able to focus on the baby when like we're gone, and I think that's good.
It was good to be reminded of that because it is scary.
I also sent her a lot of baby TikToks. So
you did. I mean, I love babies. Oh my gosh, there's nothing that I love more than my little babies. But it was just really scary at first, and I was also nervous about your reaction. And I haven't told Gage yet. I'm nervous about his reaction, just because they are so much older. But I am excited.
Was a little bit sad when I realized I will be getting kicked out of my room.
I keep telling her, no, you won't. I know that is such an exciting thing when people have babies, is to like get the nursery ready. I've never, ever gotten a nursery ready for a baby. Never.
Yeah.
When I had Brayy, we were going to be buying our first home. So we were living in a trailer, like a single wide trailer. And the room that was going to be the nursery was really stinky. Like,
oh, really?
It was just like a temporary thing. It smelled so bad in there. We also kind of used it as storage. So you were in our bedroom and you just slept in like a little bassinet next to the bed, and then we co-slept. And also you had like a playpen. So you were just in our room. And then when we moved into our first home, you were pretty old. You weren't a year yet, but then we were able to do a nursery, and so that was great. And then with Gage, it was kind of the same thing. We were selling our house. So we sold our house and moved, and he didn't have a nursery. You guys shared a room.
Oh, yeah.
But that was also temporary because we moved into an apartment and we were going to be buying a new home. And so eventually we bought a new home and he got a nursery. And then with Winston, we were in California.
About to move to Idaho. That's so funny.
Yeah, and so he just had a little area in our bedroom.
Layla had a nursery, didn't she?
No.
That was Winston's nursery.
Yeah, that was Winston's nursery that he also never used.
Yeah.
And she just co-slept until we moved here.
Also, no one really sleeps in there. Like, well, me and Gage do, but the other siblings love to sleep on the couch or in your room. Or
I have co-slept with them for a long time. I co-slept with Brayy until I had Gage. And then when we had Gage, we immediately just put him in a bassinet. And he was a really easy baby, and he slept really great in his bassinet. And I never co-slept with Gage. And then I still co-sleep with Layla, usually. But we co-slept with the younger two for a long time. So I don't know what you're worried about.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'll for sure have the baby in my room. And then the baby can share with Layla. Or I even thought, if it came down to it, we could just turn this into a bedroom.
Yeah.
And because my setup up here is we have this office that we film the podcast in. I usually get ready up here. It's just kind of like an extra space, and I love it. But it could easily be turned into a bedroom for Layla.
Yeah, that's true.
So don't you worry. You don't have to go anywhere. Do you have any other thoughts about having?
I'm excited. I think it'll be a little different than the other siblings, but
I mean, hopefully,
like
you said, you'll still be here for a while.
Yeah, for a couple of years. So.
Yeah, and so that will be good. I just hope that you actually do that.
I just hope that you
will actually stay here. I love that you talked about how like you and Gage have these memories, because I saw something about how certain siblings share core memories, and that's why you and Gage have core memories together. And I feel like Winston and Layla will have core memories. So then it's like,
you and the baby.
This baby. Who are they going to make these core memories
Layla's going to love the baby.
No, that's what Dad keeps saying. He's like, he just keeps saying, Winston and Layla are going to love this.
I feel like a lot of teenagers, so we can talk about not just our experience in this, but I feel like a lot of teenagers probably do have different reactions when their parents tell them they're having another baby. And I just think it's really important to make sure that they, that you're not going to take that love away from them and give it to the other baby. So I would try and focus on all the kids, because that is hard, being the oldest and watching, you guys with Winston and Layla. It is weird because obviously I don't need as much attention, and, they always want you guys to be watching them.
Right.
And so it is weird being the oldest and be like, okay, I'll be in the background,
Yeah.
So it is important to make sure each of your kids feel loved, because it is, you're going through it, but so are the kids, Mm-hmm. And if you're a teenager watching this, your parent isn't doing this too. My mom did not get pregnant because she hates me or neglects me and doesn't want me part of the family. She's not replacing me. She didn't, plan this. Yeah. But even if your parent is planning it, it's because they want to add to the family. Yeah. They're not replacing you. And if you are a parent replacing your kid, probably don't do that.
That's what I was like, Braylee's moving, time for a new one.
Gotta fill her room.
I think that that's a really good point. And I do think that everyone's feelings are valid. If you are feeling like that as a child, and you feel comfortable, or maybe if there's a, the right time or a way that you can do it, even if you write a note and just let your parents know, like, these are some things that I'm concerned about or worried about, or like, I just want, maybe you want to be involved in going to doctor's appointments and seeing the ultrasound. How can you still like be involved in this? Like, I want to be a part of this. If you feel like maybe your parents aren't involving you in things, they probably aren't thinking or realizing that that's what they're doing. Like, that's the last thing that you would want to do as a parent, is make one of your kids feel neglected or left out. I think oftentimes parents feel like, oh, they probably don't want to go. Oh, they probably don't really care. Or if they do notice that maybe you're upset, maybe they don't want to bring attention to the pregnancy or the new baby coming, because it feels like they're taking attention away. It's a really hard time when those emotions are running high. So communication is just so important.
And everyone's going to react differently. Like, I'm sure my reaction is going to be different than, like, Gage's reaction when he finds out. Probably not, because Gage is, like, such a sweetheart. But, like, you thought I was going to be upset about it, and I'm not at all, obviously. Yeah. Like, I'm excited and I'm sad because of the different stages in life, but also I don't think that you're replacing me. I don't think, like, just because she's having a baby, I'm not going to be as important. It's important as a kid to remember, like, this isn't about you. And that is hard, because you do want to be your parents' number one. Like, you do want to be the cool older sister to all your siblings, but, like, life moves on. Growing up is super hard, and I've said this a lot to a lot of my friends. Like, I hate growing up. Like, I wish that I could still be in the house and help raise this kid, because I feel like I've almost become, like, a second mom to my siblings.
Yeah.
But it's, like, grow to accept all the stages of life. And I think that's so hard, and it's sad. And, like, even filming this video, like, I keep tearing up because thinking about that. It is going to be different with this sibling, but it's so cool. Like, it's so cool that I get to be the fun older sister that takes them school shopping outside of the family, and, like I said, stay at my house or take them to lunch or something. And it's hard to think, like, about the family trips and stuff, but it's also up to you as a kid to involve yourself in their life. Like, you can't expect your parents to do that for you.
Yeah. And I think even more than just you feeling, I didn't think that you would be upset. I thought that you would feel like it was unfair, the timing, because it feels like that to me, and I didn't know what your emotions would be or how you would feel about it. Because I do understand that feeling as an older sibling, especially when there's such an age gap, that the timing can feel unfair. Especially you engage having, there's the age gap, and then we have the little ones, and they do require a lot, and it can take away. And we've talked about that before. I've talked about that with you engaged before. And that was my fear, is that it would feel like the timing was unfair and that more time was going to be taken away. So I think that those are really good things to bring up. I'm glad that you thought about that, because it can be hard. And then those feelings and emotions make you feel guilty, because of course everyone thinks it's a good thing and it's a blessing. But it's okay to feel what you feel, even when it feels like you shouldn't. But, feel those feelings and work through them and process them. And hopefully you can find the right way to communicate those, because you are important and you should be heard, and your parent wants to hear how you're feeling.
Like, when I realized that maybe there's a possibility of me getting kicked out of my room, like, that did make me feel like a little bit sad, because, like, I still want this to be like my house too. Yeah. And so that made me sad. So I, like, communicated that to my mom. We were able to talk about it. Or it is weird to me to think that, like, we're going to be the same distance between me and you, which is kind of weird.
What I love, though? This baby's going to make you feel as old as you make me feel.
Yeah, literally. But, like, communicate that stuff. And it's okay. Like, I feel selfish sometimes when I'm communicating that, because, like, this isn't my pregnancy. I'm not going through it. But also, like, you are. And it's okay to speak up on how you feel. And as a parent, like, make them not feel selfish, kind of.
Yeah, I think that is the thing, too. When they're communicating that feeling to you, it's also not about you. It's about how they're feeling, and it's about being able to communicate and have a conversation back and forth. Because easily a parent could probably be like, well, you're 19. Like, why do you think that one of the other kids shouldn't get your room. I would never feel that way. It's like, absolutely not. That's your room first. And that's going to be your room until you're ready to move on from it. We'll figure something else out. I would never feel like that didn't even enter my mind.
Yeah.
But if you don't communicate that, you are just in your mind thinking like, oh, I probably won't get a room. Oh, they'll probably like do this and that. And your feelings are getting hurt. But if you communicate and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Why would that ever be something that we would do?
And I do think that some parents probably do feel like, well, you're an adult, like, move out. But I would just try and take a step back and be like, okay, like you said, this isn't about me. Like, this is how they feel. And just say it a little nicer, maybe.
Well, also just remember, if your kid is communicating that they probably do feel selfish also, that they're having those feelings and guilty. And to keep that in mind so that you can have that conversation more open-minded and being understanding that it probably is hard for them to communicate that to you. You know? And I think, you know, I've heard other older siblings say that they were stressed out because they felt like they would have to take on more responsibility. That's a good thing to talk about. Or that, you know, things maybe are already stressful. It's going to add more stress. To communicate those things and talk about those things, because if you're not having those conversations, everyone knows what it's like to kind of make up these stories in our minds. And kids are doing that also. It's just, you know, having those conversations, even though they might be hard. And it's just making sure that everyone remembers to stay open to conversation and to not make it about them, but to be thinking about like, how is everyone feeling in this moment? I'm like feeling so emotional. I'm like having a hard time talking. I'm like, oh, you know, like everyone just hearing each other out and like love. It just has to be love, because it is a hard time and it is emotional. It feels heavy.
Yeah.
Even though it's such a blessing and such a gift and such a beautiful time, there is a heaviness when you think about everyone's emotions, and everyone just really deserves to be heard, because it just brings more understanding. Yeah. And love and peace to your family. So.
And like, even though only one person in the family is obviously pregnant, everyone's going through it.
Yeah.
Everybody's life's going to change. Everyone's going to have to adapt, and that's okay. Like, yeah, it is a hard and it's a stressful time, and maybe some people feel hurt by it, but it's also supposed to be exciting and fun. So, like, I feel like I've tried to get past like the negative stuff that's happening and like focus on the positive, because everything in life there's going to be bad, like, negative sides to that.
Yeah.
But like, why focus on that when there's like so much good coming along with it too?
I am so grateful, because you have been such a support to me so far, and just always positive, and always like, you know, if I'm like, well, what about this that you'll miss out on, and you're like, but what about this thing that we'll be doing? And it's just been so good, and I feel so lucky. So thank you. It'll be good. Oh. So anyway, that's what's happening. That's my update. It's really exciting.
A little emotional, obviously.
A little emotional. I do plan on doing some fun videos, just like I did in the past with the other ones, and definitely updates. So if you're interested, watch for that. And if you take nothing else from this video, just know you can be surprised with a pregnancy at any age, whether you're 19 or 39. It can happen. So be safe.
Be safe out there, kids.
Be safe out there. It was really fun chatting about this. I haven't really talked about it much, so this was fun to just talk and let it all out. But like we said before, if there are any other topics that you want to hear us talk about, or hear from Casey or Gage or Layla, maybe Winston will hop in here, let me know. Yeah. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. So exciting. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.